How's it going, ladies and gents? It's beginner's luck here, and Nintendo Switch announcement, whatever you want to call it, the event that happened this January has just happened. And my thoughts about it are a little lackluster, to be honest. So what we learned from this Nintendo Switch event is that the Nintendo Switch is going to be priced at $300 US, and it's going to be releasing March 3rd. That was a little bit earlier than I had thought. I thought Nintendo might have released the Switch like midway of March, maybe end of March. But it's going to be the first week of March we're going to get it, so that's actually quicker than I thought. As well as the fact that they have announced that the Switch is touch compatible. It's a capacitive touch. And that, what's it called? The battery life. The battery life, they said, is dependent on the game. When it's not on the dock and you're playing it mobile, it can last from 2.5 to 6 hours depending on the game. I was pretty shocked by that, I have to be honest. So yeah, so the Switch, $300, coming out March 3rd, and the battery life is like 2.5 to 6 hours depending on the game. And if you're playing games like, say, Zelda or Skyrim, it's gonna take like 2.5 hours because those games are pretty heavy. I was a bit shocked by how much they were putting details and emphasis into their new Joy-Con controllers. I thought that was a bit unnecessary. It seems that Nintendo wants to keep going with their motion controls and HD vibrations or whatever, but really, us gamers don't really care about that too much. I guess they're trying to appeal to the casual audience, the family friendly, saying like, oh hey, we still got motion controls. Check out this new game we released called ARMS, it's a fighting game, and you use the controls and you actually fight and move and everything. It's a bit of the Wii still on the Switch, but I don't think any gamers really care for that. I don't know why they put emphasis into ARMS or anything. I mean, it sounds cool, kind of reminded me of a Wii Sports, but unless those things come with the Nintendo Switch, I don't see anyone really buying it. For instance, that new game they released, not released, a new type of so-called game that is to come out with the Nintendo Switch at launch is 1-2 Switch. And apparently, you get to play games like sword fighting games and hold 'em up shooter games. And they're not really games as much because you don't even look at a screen and play with virtual characters or anything. You basically have the remote in your hand and you just act it out as if you were actually in the sport. That reminds me a bit of the Wii, and I don't think anyone really cares about the Wii motion controls anymore, Nintendo. I don't know why you were putting so much emphasis on that. I mean, yeah, it's cool, but we don't need it to be dedicated for... we don't need the controllers to be dedicated for motion controls. We just need a motion control for like maybe steering in Mario Kart, but that's all I can think of really. Yeah, so I felt it was a bit lackluster considering that Nintendo didn't really go in depth about a whole bunch of games. They let's see here. They talked about a couple games. They talked about 1-2 Switch. They talked about their new motion control game, brawler game, ARMS. That seemed like, really, Nintendo? You're trying to push that on us still? They showed Super Mario Odyssey, and that was something that I was really excited for. I was like, dang, this looks like a really cool game. It's supposed to be a new sandbox Mario game, kind of like the Super Mario 64 and like Super Mario Sunshine. So I'm really looking forward to that, but sadly, that's not a launch title. That's going to be a holiday release. When I heard that, my heart just broke, really. Because I was like, what? It's not a launch title? Then what's going to be there for me when I try and get the Switch on launch date? But other games include Splatoon 2. You have Super Bomberman R or whatever. You have Elder Scrolls Skyrim, FIFA 18, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. They got all these games. And so I saw the event, saw those games. I was a little disappointed. Only game that really excited me was Skyrim and Super Mario, and those games aren't set to release until later on this year. And I think the only launch titles they talked about on Thursday night were Zelda and 1-2 Switch. I mean, a lot of people I know are into Zelda, and a lot of people are going to get the Switch for Zelda. But me necessarily, I'm not a big fan of Zelda. I mean, it's a fun game, fun franchise, but I don't see myself rushing to go get a Switch. So the day after, the Nintendo Treehouse, where they showcase some of the games that are coming for the Switch this year, I saw one game that interested me a bit. And if I remember correctly, it was like all or has been heroes or something, I think. Has been heroes, correct me if I'm wrong. But it was a pretty cool looking game. It looked like an indie game. And as I was looking at it, I was like, this might seem like something I might play. But sadly, that doesn't come out to the end of March, is what I heard. If that's the case, then there's really is no launch titles to go with the Switch, except Zelda and 1-2 Switch, which, if 1-2 Switch came with the Switch for free, then I would see people playing it. But if you're going to charge people for 1-2 Switch, I don't see many people buying that, not one bit, because it's just another Wii Sports. You want Wii Sports, go back to your Wii. And the Zelda, that's the only game that's really supporting the Switch. And if that's the only launch title supporting the Switch, it might have a very lackluster, what's it called? And I know I'm saying lackluster a lot, but it could be a very, very, very weak launch for the Nintendo Switch. Unless Nintendo releases or announces more games to launch with the Switch on March 3rd, which I doubt. I don't see the Switch succeeding in the very first month or two. I could be wrong. People have surprised me before. I once predicted that Snapchat wouldn't go far, and look where that got us. But yeah, so after the whole Switch announcement, the details and everything, and seeing the games, I'm a bit not disappointed. I feel like I'm wanting more. I feel like they didn't show enough. And that's not a good thing to leave on people. I mean, others, they say that they were super excited, they're super hyped, they're going to go get it on day one. Other people were saying that it was a horrible, like a Switch event, that it was too cringy and everything. Which I get. There was some cringy moments, I have to admit, with the translators and what some of the third-party developers were trying to do on display when they were up, kind of like Sega and that one guy. I forget what he was showcasing, but some game with a character of Trevor or Travis or something. You have to see the event itself, but it was quite cringy at some moments. So what do I think so far of the Nintendo Switch? It's cool. The idea is pretty cool. The colors for the colors that you have for your controllers, you have the gray con, and you have the blue Joy-Con and the red pinkish Joy-Con. They look cool, but the games though, there's hardly anything there right now. I don't see myself rushing to get it at launch date. I'd probably just get the Nintendo Switch just to play that Has Been Heroes game and hopefully Super Mario Odyssey later on this year, but can't say for sure. Overall, I'd have to say this Nintendo Switch announcement, with all its details and everything, leaves me wanting more. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I feel like they didn't show enough. I feel like they should have brought more games, announced bigger titles coming for launch. Hearing that Super Mario Odyssey isn't going to come out to the holidays is very, very, very disheartening. So, I don't know. Is the Switch going to be successful at launch? I really want it to be successful, but from what I've seen so far, I don't think it is. Nintendo, I know you're trying to appeal to us, but you got to work harder. Oh, by the way, one other game that I saw that really caught my eye was Fire Emblem Warriors. I'm a huge Fire Emblem fan, and they said they'll have a Fire Emblem Warriors Direct or something, a Fire Emblem Direct next week on January 18th, I believe. I think it's a Wednesday. So I look forward to that, and I hope they're gonna announce some games to come out with the Switch. If Fire Emblem Warriors is until like summer or holiday, then I really see no point in getting the Switch at launch. Especially since everyone's clawing at each other to get a freaking pre order. You know, classic Nintendo. Make a high demand for a product, only produce like so limited copies that everyone's gonna scalp it and sell for millions on eBay. Anyways, yeah, so that just basically wraps up my thought. Other than that, I heard Nintendo was gonna have pay for their online services, which is, quite frankly, I did not want to hear that one bit. I thought Nintendo was gonna be like good guy Nintendo and be like, oh yeah, online services, you know, you still don't have to pay for anything. But now that they're charging us to use Nintendo online services, they better have something else to go with it to like pique our interest, like throw in some free games maybe like Xbox and PlayStation does. So yeah, those are my thoughts of the Nintendo Switch and what was announced. And so what are your guys' thoughts, you know? A Nintendo Switch appeals to a large audience and everyone's going to have different opinions, and I'd like to hear yours in the comment section down below. And if you like this video, you can leave a like. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Like I said in my previous video in Mass Effect, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing this year, but I'm going to try and be more active this year. So, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Laters!